Hey, what is going on, guys? DK. Back at you with another video here to bring the showdown slate between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Brooklyn Nets. And let me just say, I am so excited for this series. I will say, I think this series might be the best playoff series this season. I do. I am the most excited for this Nets Bucks series. So, if you guys are new to the channel, welcome. My name is DK. I make daily videos and a live stream for NBA and NFL slates on Draftkings. If you are unable to watch these videos, I also upload an Apple Podcast. Link down below. It's called the DKDFS Show. And if you could, if you take a minute or two out of your day, leave a 5-star rating and review. That would help me out a ton because, again, every single rating review boosts me up in those podcast rankings. If you are interested in signing up for premium content, I offer that on patreon.com. Also, link down below. I offer an NBA package. We go over the main slate every day. When there is a main slate, we go over the late showdown slate every day. And then I also offer an esports package that includes Call of Duty and CSGO. We get CSGO slates every single day. Call of Duty slates usually 4 times a week. And then I offer a gold package, which is kind of a combination of both. Basically, you get everything for one price. And finally, I want to thank PrizePicks for sponsoring this episode. If you're not familiar with PrizePicks, so the idea is they will post fantasy scores, and you'll be taking over/under on fantasy points. So, for example, over/under on Chris Middleton at 38 fantasy points. Now, looking at these and looking at this Vegas total, right? This total we'll talk about it. It's almost 240. We know the Bucks play super fast, and we know the Nets play super fast, and the Nets play no defense. I'm looking at these fantasy scores or fantasy projections, whatever, and I'm like, they seem too low on almost everyone. Like Giannis at 58, the only way he fails is a blowout or foul trouble. Really, I don't see him getting under 58 there. Kevin Durant 50, that also seems way too low. He's the guy of the big three that has the highest floor. So like the over there on KD. I think Drew Holiday goes over 38. He played phenomenal in that first series. And even some of these value guys like, Bruce Brown probably had to play a decent amount. I think this is interesting, but it feels like a lot of these guys are too low based on, the pace that the game should be played. But they will also have single stat DFS where you can take over/under on like points itself or assists, rebounds. And I think it's a fun change of pace from DraftKings because you're not playing against anyone. You're just playing against the house. If you look at top here, again, they have every single sport you can think of. So if you guys want to try it out, you can sign up, use the code DKDFS. DKDFS, all one word, link down below. You'll get a 100% match up to $100. So basically, if you put the max at $100 in, you get a free $100 or $200 total to play with. And finally, I just got to thank everyone, guys. Today, you guys made my day. So I made a announcement on Twitter. I'll probably make a video on it as well. But today was my last day working at my full-time job, stepping down to fully commit now to YouTube, DFS full-time. And let me just say, I am so excited to have more free time for one, and also make more content too. So you'll probably be seeing more from me. And really, the support, like reading everything I posted on Twitter, it was overwhelming. Overwhelming, guys. It really just made my day more than you know. And I was just, wow. Like, there's so many supportive people in this community. And it was almost to the point where I was like, oh, man, I might be getting a little bit emotional here. It's like someone cutting onions. I was like, hey, guys, again, great community here. And I can't thank you guys enough for everything, really. The support it means the world to me. So, if you guys do enjoy all this content, if you could, leave a like button on the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you know when I upload videos, you know when I go live. I will be doing a quick YouTube live stream tomorrow for this one. It might be, for the showdown slates, usually it's shorter. I might extend it a little bit just because I'm just super excited to talk about this game. And let's try to aim for 150 likes on this video. I believe we have a 2-gamer Sunday. I think we have mostly 2 gamers from here on out, but So enough of me talking about previous slates and stuff like that. Let's jump into this one. I guess real quick, we can go over my lineup here from today's slate. And let me tell you, I have nightmares about the Rick Carlisle and the Dallas big rotation. Again, put the clown paint on my face for trusting Carlisle that Dwight Powell would play more because he played so well last game. And also, Ty Lue and those Zubac minutes, you got to be kidding me, right? Zubac was playing 15 to 20 minutes a game. We saw last game, Dallas wanted to go big, and they did. And we saw the Clippers match him with Zubac. Well, what happens in this slate? Zubac barely plays. Dwight Powell barely plays. Shake my head, man. I was still close to the cash. If you would just get somewhat similar minutes to last game, like we got, again, like 20 from Zubac and like 22, I think, from Powell. Like, just give me, like, I don't know, 15 minutes from Zubac and, like, 15 minutes from Powell. Like, I'll take less than the one they got last game. No. We had Powell get, like, 8 minutes and Zubac play 6. Again, I'm a fool for trusting, especially Rick Carlisle, because we've seen that throughout the season, him just being the woat for DFS. The winning lineup, funny thing is, this is actually my lineup last Showdown slate. I used the Boban and the captain, and the team jam him in with Luka, Kawhi, Paul George, and then Reggie and Batum. And Boban, they seem convinced to want to give him some pretty nice minutes in this series. And we know Boban's just a phenomenal point per minute guy. Had a couple of viewers take down split it. I know it wasn't a ton because a lot of people have this lineup, but still congrats to everyone that did win. And all right, now let's move on to this slate again. Enough of me talking and recapping. All right, so Bucks and Nets again, 239.5 over under. The Nets are 4-point favorites. I'm hoping the Bucks can pull this one off, but we'll see. Because again, I bet on the Bucks to win it all. I wanted to go a little bit contrarian. My Blazers pick not working out so well, so hoping the Bucks can pull through for me. But all right, so Giannis ended the combo 11.8K. So for me, like of the guys at the top, if we look at Giannis, KD, and Harden, my favorite of that bunch is Giannis because I feel like he is with the Brooklyn big three, it can be any one of them. Giannis, as long as there's no foul trouble, he is going to have a big game. So, going back to Milwaukee, I feel like he is the spend up I feel the best about. I think he's the safest and also has a ton of upside too. Again, I think we get about 40 minutes from him in this series. They're going to need him out there, and we know he can do it all. So I don't need to tell you that Giannis is a great play because, again, he is a great play in this slate. Now with Middleton and Drew Holiday. So Drew Holiday played really well that last series. He did. He had the ball in his hands a ton. Look at these assist numbers. 10, 15, 12, and 9 for the last 5 games. That is really good to see. Also, he should play close to 40 minutes, maybe more. They need his defense and guys like Harden, guy like Kyrie. So I really like Drew Holiday here. I do prefer him to Middleton. I think he's more optimal. Now, that doesn't mean Middleton can't outscore Drew, because he can. The reason I prefer Drew is, again, the floor with the assist. Right? Drew had the ball in his hands a lot more. Middleton can do some of the peripheral stats for sure, but I guess he would be a little bit more reliant on the scoring. So, I'll give a slight preference to Drew over Chris Middleton. That doesn't, again, make Middleton out of play. I just lean Drew Holiday. Now we get to the value here. So, the mid-range guys are tough in this slate because both teams are so star-heavy. Obviously, with Milwaukee, we have Drew, Middleton, and Giannis, where that's where all the productions come from. And then that's the big three. So, I have a tough time prioritizing these mid-range guys. So, a guy like Brook Lopez, I think we get close to 30 minutes from him. He's a decent point per minute guy. He had actually a pretty big game last game. It's just, it might be a little bit difficult to get him. If he's like a last piece in, I'm not going to talk you off him. You just got to mess around with roster construction, right? So, yeah, Brook Lopez, fine. It's just, I feel like this slate is definitely setting up for stars and scrubs build. I don't really want to go balanced on this show on slate. Now, Bryn Forbes, God. I guess he's just the GOAT now. That last game, oh, man, I was like, you know what? I think Bryn Forbes is going to be popular after that last slate, and he just made me look like a fool and just nail all his shots. The fade was looking good for the first quarter and a half, and then he just came out in the second quarter and didn't miss. The issue with Bryn Forbes, as I will always say, is the floor is super low on him. It is. So be careful with Bryn Forbes. Again, if he's not knocking down his shots, he has single-digit fantasy point floor. But the Bucks do need help scoring without DiVincenzo, and I think Forbes probably hovers in the 25-minute range. So not out of play, just a riskier play because of his reliance on scoring. Bobby Portis at 5K. Also, don't hate him as a GPP play, and it's because he's a really productive guy off the bench, a good point per minute guy, and should get 15 to 20 minutes. And he's been pretty consistent, averaging close to 20 fantasy points. So a fair play. I think Portis goes a little bit overlooked on the slate. Cheaper options, Connaughton was a huge letdown last slate, but we might need to play like one or two of these guys in this price range. And Connaughton, with no DiVincenzo, I think probably gets somewhere around 20 to 25 minutes. Now, sure, he had a 4-game last game, but he can still go out and get you 15 to 20 points, right? We saw it 2 previous games. 3 of the last 5, we saw 15, 22, and 21. So Pat Connaughton, for sure in play here. PJ Tucker, he's cheap, but it's like, man, I don't even know if I can stomach it. But like, really, again, we might have to play one or two of these guys. And Tucker, I think, plays over 20 minutes. They're going to need his defense. He'll probably, have some time guarding Kevin Durant. I really don't want to play PJ Tucker, but he's someone that you got to consider because he'll at least be on the court. He can fall into some rebounds. Now, Jeff Teague might play a couple minutes in this series, but that is super high risk, high reward. I don't think he plays a ton, really, so hard for me to prioritize that. And then that's it. That is the rotation for Milwaukee. So let's move on to Brooklyn. The big 3 here, Harden at 12, KD at 11, Kyrie at 9-8. From what we've seen, Harden has flashed the most upside. He had it in the last series. These assist numbers are just crazy. 10, 18, 10, 70, 63, and 75 fantasy points the last 3 games. I do think KD probably has the highest floor of these guys. He kind of had the floor game last game, but other than that, he was really consistent in that Boston series. So, KD versus Harden. This one's a close one. It is. Upside-wise, Harden probably has a little bit more upside, but you get KD at $1,000 discount. So that's one where it's close to a coin flip for me with those top 2 guys. Now, Kyrie, I think, does go a little bit overlooked on the showdown slate. The reason being is he's had a lower floor, right? KD is a guy that can get the rebounds, the blocks. Harden, obviously, the assist. While Kyrie's been a little bit more reliant on the scoring, the peripherals haven't been as strong for him in that first series with Boston. So I feel like that makes him the riskiest of the bunch. And he's not super cheap either at almost 10K. So for those reasons, I think Kyrie is suboptimal on the slate. But that doesn't mean he can't go out and go over a big game. He can. So, if you want to differentiate your lineup, I don't hate going to Kyrie. Again, I just think he's a little bit more suboptimal on this one. Now, Joe Harris, it's just I can't pay $7K for Joe Harris, right? It doesn't make sense. Yes, the minutes will be there. Yes, he can go off and nail like 5 or 6 straight threes like he did that one game against Boston, but I just don't think it makes sense, right? Unless you're just trying to get super, super different. Now, pretty big news here. Jeff Green has been ruled out. So, you would think that would help Blake and Claxton's minutes. Not so much. Bruce Brown, oddly enough, has been the guy that has gotten a little bit more run. 24 minutes in back-to-back games. He's played well, too. And I would assume we get similar run from Bruce Brown, which I actually think makes him a pretty fair value play, a safer value play, I would say. So, yes, I do have some interest in Bruce Brown. Blake Griffin, again, we know is kind of washed up at this point of his career, but we should get close to 20 minutes from him. He's only 4K, playable, right? We got it. We're going to have to play one or two value guys at least on the slate. Nick Claxton at 2.8. Now we're getting to some risky plays for sure. Claxton, I don't think plays a ton. I would guess gets around 10 minutes, which, again, viable. He's actually a pretty good point per minute guy. So playable, just risky, and maybe there's a slight chance he gets a DNP. I think there is. Small chance. And then 2 guys left here. So Landry Shamet. I know. I almost puked in my mouth saying it, but I think we get somewhere around 15 minutes from him, maybe a little bit more. We actually saw 22 that last game. He is clearly, right, not a good point per minute guy playing alongside the big 3. But he's 1.8, so he allows you to get those stars in there. And if you play him, you really just gotta hope he doesn't kill you. Like if you play him, you just gotta hope just give me close to 10 fantasy points, Shamet. All right, that's it. And then finally, Tyler Johnson. He's at the flat min 1K. Are you gonna feel good about playing Tyler Johnson? Of course not. But I do think he plays. Right, he's been playing 8, 10, 16, 11. I think we get about 10 minutes from Tyler Johnson. Now, sure, there's a chance maybe he gets a DNP, but that would be my guess. If he does, then he's 1K, and it's like you can if everyone in the 1K range, he's probably the guy I would roll the dice on because he's at least probably touches the court. Now, does DeAndre Jordan play in the series? I would guess not, unless he starts. Unless they move things around and DeAndre Jordan starts here, then obviously I really like DeAndre Jordan because he's a good point per minute guy. But assuming he doesn't start, I think we just get another DNP. So that's kind of it, guys, for the team player by player breakdown. As far as roster construction, I'm going to discuss this a little bit more on Patreon. But again, I do think this is stars and scrub slate. The balanced build, I don't think it makes a ton of sense. I think you want to focus on trying to get probably 3, maybe even 4 of those stars into your lineup. And, the value plays, fingers crossed they don't kill you like they did to me tonight with Zubac and Dwight Powell. Again, thank you, Rick Carlisle. But that is going to do it for the video today, guys. So if you haven't enjoyed the content so far, I would really appreciate if you could leave a like button on the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you know when I upload videos, you know when I go live. Again, I will be live tomorrow. Make sure to check it out, guys, on my YouTube channel. Thanks again. Have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow in the live stream.